sweat the technique.
How's it going, YouTube? This is your buddy DJ Technique, and I'm coming back at you with another one of these honest reviews. Today we're going to be checking out the Roland TR-808. This is a pretty impressive piece of machinery here. It incorporates a lot. Well, let's be honest. Let's talk about logistics first. It's a $1,500 piece of machinery here. That's a lot of money to spend on a controller. And, you know, if I hadn't first bought an MCX 8000 and then had some issues and had to return it and then just pay the difference, I don't know if I ever would have jumped into something like this. However, the moment I opened the box, the moment I started touching knobs and playing with the jog wheels, I instantly was impressed. It was a completely different experience than when I got my MCX 8000. I didn't like the thin profile of it. I didn't think that was technically a big advantage. This one is a lot thicker. It's closer to your kind of pro audio mixers and stuff. You can see I still got it stacked on foam because I like it level with my turntables for sure. But overall, it is a big controller. But I like the fact that it's actually a thicker profile. It's not too heavy. It's got good handles here on the side. It's easy to heft around. And overall, it was a very different experience. I remember seeing the green on the internet and thinking that kind of looked cheesy, but honestly in person it's really bright, it's really sharp, it stands out. They've done an awesome feature where they put a red ring around it if you're on the bottom decks, a green ring if you're on the tops. That's super helpful. Anything that gives you more of a visual reference of what deck you're on, I think, is a huge plus. It's pretty obvious that it's a standard formula kind of bass here. This is what most 4 channels in the industry have come to look like, very much, with pretty few variations here. One real nice thing I've never had before, these color type effects here, where you can change from your high-low pass filter to noise, jet, dub, echo, all of that. Really handy. I've seen it on high-end mixers, but I've never got to play with it, and I gotta say that is an awesome addition. I was a little shocked. I didn't realize until I got it. There's no needle strip search on this one at all, which I became extremely dependent on with my UDJ SX2. Even on the MCX 8000 it had it and I liked it. My CDJ has it. It's still got the shift search function, but I just don't find that to be nearly as accurate or helpful as that needle drop is. Really, if you get used to it, you can pretty much drop it on point where you want it. These performance pads are pretty standard overall. They're not quite as responsive as my SX2 is. I can drum so fast on one pad on the SX2. If I want to match that here on the TR-808, I gotta set 2 cue points in the same spot, and then I can get a more double time kind of roll out of it. It's real nice and loud. Great sound quality overall. My buddy last night, we were mixing together, and I think I had it adjusted down to like here, out of his EVs 15s, and he on his MV was right here, and we were getting about the same level of sound out. It's a very loud unit, and it's got a lot of adjustments, so you can play with the hertz and sensitivity, all that kind of stuff. They made a big deal, a lot of hype about how these are the lowest latency jog wheels released yet. And it feels like a step in the right direction. I feel what they're talking about. Chirps sound better. Some of the backspins and stuff, it's more accurate than the old jogs were. But it's not a huge leap, that's for sure. It's not mind-blowing. It's not like suddenly having a CDJ or vinyl to scratch with. But definitely awesome. One of the features that I thought was a total gimmick, and I ended up liking it right out of the box, is the drum machine. Obviously, that's kind of the selling point for the Roland here, costing so damn much. But I guess I never knew I needed it. I've played with Fruit Loops a little bit, and Ableton, And if you've done any programming, if you've ever used, you know, a step sequencer, essentially it's like being able to just program your bass drums, your snares, your hi-hats, and then you can even put any sample sounds into these banks here and sample in synths or whatever you want. It's a really, really awesome feature that I never would have imagined could have been implemented so easily, integrated so well. It's extremely functional. And then having these 4 little up faders here, one for each instrument, it's basically like having your own stem file right at the top of your controller. I really liked the concept of the S8 being pure stem, but I went down to Guitar Center and played with one, and the fact that it had no jog wheels, instantly I'm like, this is awkward, it's, you know, just not for me. So what they've done here is found an awesome, very useful balance that I appreciate much more than I ever thought I would. I was sold on that from the moment I played with it. In all honesty, I was playing with it for a couple hours the first day, it was fine. I came back later that night and played with it for a few hours more, and suddenly my snare drum just disappeared on me. I was freaking out. I thought I got another bunk unit, which I seem to have a curse with, but I got a hold of Roland support, and they taught me how to do a reset on the hardware. This is actually useful stuff. There was one other guy that was having some internal clock issues with his drum machine. If there's anything weird going on, you can do a hard reset simply by turning it off, holding the back button here by your track load, and then power it back on. It'll come with a different light up. It'll think for a second, and then it'll say OK up here at the drum tempo clock. Then you power it back off, power it back on. This fixed it for me. I was happy as could be, because I was pretty sure I was going to have to mail another unit back again, which at this point is just kind of standard. I was sort of used to it, ready for it. We got a voice transformer on this thing. Definitely not a full feature, but a lot of fun to play with. Hello, hello, hello. What's up? Got your robot voice. Got your beaver. Got your 4-mans. I don't even know what most of these are, but then you can put it in the duck mode and other stuff. It's a lot of fun. Probably not a feature you're going to use at a wedding a lot or something like that, but honestly, even if you're a producer into recording and stuff like that, I can see this machine being so useful for producers. I could see it being really useful for live bands, just for having the percussive transitions and stuff like that. It's really, there's so much potential, and the more you get to know each part of it and really work it right, like, it's really awesome. They got the TR sampler also available down here on the pads. It's pretty cool, pressure sensitive. I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of hard to see, but essentially you can hold it and then it'll change color with each step. And it's basically just another way you can do your rolls, but you got the standard instruments right there on lock. It's super cool. It needs a little more programming. It's definitely not the easiest function yet, but I believe with future updates of the drivers and stuff and the firmware, this is probably going to be just as dialed in as any other equipment you can find out there. That's a pretty good overview basically of it. Let me give you an idea of what it sounds like.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce a very interesting young man who's traveled from very far away to be with us tonight. Technique, 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 technique. Mobilization.
Will you be there for me?
it's the idea. Very full featured. I barely messed with any of it, but tried to at least touch everything a little bit. Yeah, if you've got a ton of money and you're looking at investing in a pro piece and you haven't yet, consider the Roland. I'd endorse it. It could take somebody years to really learn how to really work this whole machine for what it's capable of. So, love you guys. Stay spinning. Take care.